Welcome back, student. Here we are going to be discuss about the open source in week 12. That's a second session. Our second session, we will discuss about the open source code and competitive intelligence. Okay, fine. Open source code is any program whose source code is made available for use or modification as a user and other developers see fit. That is basically open source. It will be easily accessible, and a person, especially a programmer and a developer, can be easily this open source code. Okay, this is the mean of why the people are basically using and make this open source code program. But they have a different basically reason I will discuss later on. But the first thing, again, the concept of open source code, it is a again open source code, that is any program which as a source code is made is available for the use. You can use this source code, and you can modify the code, and any user or other developer can be change and and depend on their requirement. The basic premise behind open source code is that when many programmer can and read and redistribute and modify a program code, and the software improves. Many basically developer are why they are involved in the main thing is that they want to improve the software, and they want to improve the code. Okay, program with the open source code can be adapted to meet new needs, and the bugs can be rapidly identified and fixed. Okay, it is also be a reason behind this, that the program will be open source, and if the other developer and any other organizations and the other programmer are basically where they find the need and the bug when we fix it. Okay, open source code educators believe that this process produce better software than the traditional closed model. Okay, again, the thing is that when many people are involved to make this and changing, and then finally they will be make a one of a good software. Okay, as compared to traditionally closed model, the open source code program consider that will be a better software. Okay, the next is a consideration about open source code is available, and an increasing number of organizations use open source code. For example, much of the internet run on open source code. When you access a web page, much of a internet run when you on open source code, when you access the web pages. Okay, send a text or a post a status update, you are likely use you are likely using open source code that time, because we are using the different text, we are style and language may be the change. Okay, we are going to be post our status updated and using the web pages to access to web pages in a different form, different language, different thing. But again, that's all are have linked to the open source code that can be easily accessible to everyone. Okay, if we're talking about the common use of open source code, that is the main move data from one application to another, and to extract and transfer and load business data into a large database simply. Okay, and normally two main things that maybe I share on the next slide. Just I want to see. Yes, I'm talking that a common use of a open source software is to move data from one application to another, and to extract, transfer, and load business data into a large database. The two frequently cited basic reason for using the open source code are that it provide a better solution to a specific business problem. Again, we are in previous definition we discussed that it will be modify. People are modifying and providing a better software. Okay, that's again the basically the people are using for specific business problem. They are using the specific business problem, but it provide a better solution to the specific business problem, and that will be the cost is a low. Okay, and the second thing is that the cost will be the low, and the open source software is used in application developed for smartphone and other mobile devices such as Apple iPhone, okay, and the Palm Treo Research in Motions, BlackBerry, different your smartphones and different mobile devices are using the open open source software. Now further we discuss about the that is some different open source software example like zip file compression, okay, Blender 3D, that is a basically purpose to 3D modeling and the animation. Emule, peer-to-peer, the file sharing, okay, and erasers, erasing data completely. Open Office, word processing, spreadsheet, presentation, graphics, and database. That's the purpose of this, okay. That is for video editing, like we use the video dub, okay. That is a many software that available you can easily access from the internet, different websites. Okay, now why should firm or individual developer create open source code? Again, I am talking you what is the reason behind this. Just I'm going to be clear explain for you people, and then we move on the next one. Next slides. Yes. Now the question is that why would firm or individual developer create open source code? You know, some people share code to earn the respect for solving a common problem in an elegant way. First thing is that some people are one. Some people are basically share code to earn just respect for solving a common problem in an elegant way. And some people have used open source code that was developed by other and feel the need to pay back by helping other developers. Okay, some are basically using and having used the open source code for just what to make money, pay back by helper of the other developer. A firm may require to develop software as a part of an agreement to address a client problem. A firm may develop open source code in the hope of earning software maintenance fee if the end user need change in the future software. Okay, some are many are basically using just for as a form of a dummy, and many people are many other organizations when they want a change in a future they want to change and modify their own way, then the developer and the company who are providing the open source code program software, then they will be fulfill the requirement of the users. Okay, a firm may develop the useful code, but maybe the reluctance to license and market it, and so might donate the code to the general public. Okay, it is also a thing that a firm may develop use code that may be the reluctance to license and market it, and so might donate the code to be the general public. Okay, come class, that is some reason we are discussing why would the firm or individual developer create the open source code. Now further we will move on a competitive intelligence. It's on our next slide. We discuss about this. Yes, competitive intelligence. Now, by definition, by a concept of competitive intelligence, First thing is that competitive intelligence is a legally obtained information that is gathered to help a company gain an advantage over its rival. Mean to say, a competitor, other different companies that are involving these things and involve to want. So the competitive intelligence is the legally obtained information. They are information that is gathered to help a company gain an advantage over its rival. For example, some companies have employees who monitor the public announcements of property transfer to detect any plant or a store expansion of a competitors. That's also a thing. Like some companies have the employees who monitor the public announcement of property transfer to detect any plant or a store expansion of competitors. They are basically they have eyes on competitors, what they are doing and what they are expanding their plant, their outlet. Okay, some are basically watching these things. And an effective competitive intelligence program require the continual gathering, analysis, and evaluating of data with the controlled dissemination of useful information to take decision makers. That is basically you are gathering on a continuous basis, analysis, gathering the some data, important data that will be useful for your taking decision. As a competitive intelligence is often to integrated into a company strategy plan. Yes, that's the one of the thing that the mostly company are involved to the strategic plan, and they are just focusing. We can get idea about the strategic plan, their executive decision making. According to the recent survey, 400 global companies with the competitive intelligence program, the number of companies that spend more than $1 million on this activity increased from 5% to 10%. And that wala basically increasing 5 to 10% on onward. I mean to the yearly basis, companies are increasing and the funding is also increasing just to get the information from their competitor. Okay, that's a survey and now further some things. Yes, competitive intelligence, just like a pharmaceutical company, represent 27% of the companies that spend more than $2 million on competitive intelligence. Now, if I'm talking about the which kind of information now they are basically demanding, that is the some almost all data needed for the competitive intelligence can be collected from the as the examine publishing information or interviewing as the outline in the following is like the 10Q or annual report, 10Q or quarterly report. Annual report, that means the quarterly report, press release, promotional materials, okay, that are the some things, normally promotional material, some websites, links, and analysis by investing community such as the standards and poor stock reports. Their performance poor stock reports that involved with. Okay. Also, some are basically involved, some companies are involved not just for the websites, that they are interviewing with the suppliers, customers, and the former employers. Some are some article that are trade press and trade release article that get the information about their rivals, and some environmental impact statement that and other filing association with the plant expansion and construction. We already discussed before patent rights, copyright that are increasing or decreasing of that company. Okay, that is some information, almost data gathering, competitive intelligence can be collect from there. I mean to say for their better decision. And normally, again, the main purpose just they want to just want how they can be mean to say getting an information that will be uh, get an advantage from their competitors. Okay, The second session that I'm going to be closed, and now further, and a third session of this week we will discuss about the other key issues, that is the trademark infringements and the cyber spotting. Okay, Allah Hafiz for this session.